It's great. I have with me Gabriela Engler from São Paulo, Brazil. Gabriela, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Norman. What about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. It's not snowing here. Is it snowing there?
Not yet.
Listen, we have a bunch of questions for you. We really appreciate you taking the time. We understand that there's a lot going on in infrastructure in Sao Paulo. So I just wanted to ask you quickly, Sao Paulo really is one of the most dynamic states in the world with world-class manufacturing, incredible agriculture, ports and logistics, one of the largest cities in the world. What are your top three infrastructure project priorities?
Okay, so Norman, we currently have in our pipeline 18 projects upcoming in all sectors, from roads to parks, going through railways. So a lot of exciting things coming up. But I'll select, I think, the most the upcoming, the closest projects that will release sooner. And also I think the largest one. So I want to mention the concession of lines 8 and 9 of our metropolitan railway. This is going to be a major project that will probably be releasing the invitations to bid by November, December. It's a brownfield project for a pair of lines that transport currently over 1 million passengers a day.
Wow.
So it's very significant, and we're estimating a capex on this project of something around 3.5 billion reais. I also want to mention the coastline road concession. This is going to be our next road concession. As you know, we had a big auction early this year, the concession of Piracicaba Panorama Road, and the coastline will be our following project on this sector. This is a project that runs in the, well, as the name says, in the coastline, most of the south part, a bit of the north part of the shore of the state of São Paulo. And it has a capex of about 3.2 billion. Many dualizations, and it's our main goal with this project is to increase safety in this region. These roads have a history of accidents, a significant number of accidents, and our main goal with this project is to increase security. And the invitations to bid are also foreseen to come out by November, December. And finally, I want to mention the Ibirapuera Arena, which is a project more entertainment oriented. The idea is we have this area here actually in the city of São Paulo, even though it's a state project, in a very premium region of the city. And the idea is for the upcoming concessionaire to develop an arena for about 20,000 people, plus some sports equipment and areas for public use. And the future concessionaire will be allowed to explore other venues such as malls, flats, and hotels. So we're very excited about this kind of new horizon in infrastructure, and not just the traditional infrastructure, but looking at to also invest in other equipments of the state. So very briefly, I would say those are our 3 priority projects at the moment.
That's great. Congratulations. Those are fantastic projects. One of the things I wanted to ask you as well, I know that you're really interested in bringing new international private investors to Sao Paulo. Investors have had a lot of luck, not really luck, but a lot of success investing in the state. And you have a very significant per capita income of $16,000, one of the highest, obviously, in Latin America. So how do you think about foreign investors, and what's your main message to foreign investors who are interested in your infrastructure projects?
Right. So I think our main message would be that we offer both great opportunities and a very comforting track record. We have actually in the auction I mentioned before, early this year in PIPA, the project was awarded for GIC, the Singapore Sovereignty Fund, in partnership with the private equity fund. So I think that already inaugurates a phase of foreign investors coming into our projects. And as I've mentioned, we do have a lot of opportunities coming up, 19 new projects. We are very dedicated in developing contractual mechanisms and specific contractual tools to provide additional comforting for investors. So just to mention one of the examples, we have in all of these projects exchange rate protection mechanisms that will help relieve any concerns involving currency issues. And as I mentioned, we also have a very important track record of 41 signed contracts, infrastructure contracts, which means a great expertise both in managing this contract as well as in structuring new projects. So I think we're very prepared for this market. If anyone in Brazil is prepared, this is us. And well, we're open to conversations.
No, great. I mean, it's such a sophisticated state, and your ecosystem in terms of infrastructure, in terms of private investment is extraordinary. It really is. I mean, I think it's one of the most sophisticated places I've ever been in. So one of the other issues I wanted to get at is how do you think about new kinds of investors? I was specifically trying to think about, for instance, U.S. pension funds or some of the smaller Canadian pension funds, because I think it really, if there are local pension funds, local investors who they could partner with, I think that's a huge opportunity. You just mentioned that GIC did that on a recent project. So how do you think about that? How do you prepare for bringing those kinds of investors to Brazil?
Well, so I think in terms of matchmaking, the state is not quite in the position to intermediate that, but we do count with a lot of good partners such as CGLA to help us do this matchmaking. Our major concern would be really structuring and developing projects that are attractive to all kinds of players in this specific market. And I would say that essentially how we do that, well, besides being well advised, we retain really good top tier advisors to our projects, having internal expertise. We also invest a lot in institutional conversations with the market, what we call market sounding. So for all of our projects, we do different and subsequent rounds of market sounding. So we are constantly hearing the market, listening to the concerns, to what makes sense, to what it doesn't make sense, and we adjust our projects accordingly. Obviously, we have the internal expertise to filter all the things we're listening, but our main goal here is actually to have an output, a project that is attractive, not just feasible, but very attractive to all the players that are interested. And I think that this constant connection is very important, both for us and for the market, and really increases project reliability. So I would say this is one of the main tracks we've been following in a very successfully manner.
That's great. And it really helps me to think through how again, sophisticated Sao Paulo is in terms of offering well-structured opportunities and the success that investors have had in Sao Paulo. So those are the hard questions. Now an easy question. How do you introduce people to Sao Paulo? Because it's such an interesting and rich state. What would you do? Somebody's going to really wants to understand the state and has a weekend. Where would you send them?
Well, I would first suggest a road trip, as most of our roads are very well maintained. We have about half of our roads under concession, and when you list the 20 best roads in the country, 19 of them are in São Paulo. So I think a road trip would be better than a road trip in Germany. That's where I would start. And then I would suggest well, they can try first the beaches. We have really great beaches, and they can have a look at this upcoming project, our coastline concession, and have a look how
that's great.
Going. Finally, I would suggest they try São Paulo's wine. We actually have a great production in the countryside. They've been doing delicious wine there, so I would say that's a great final stop.
That's fantastic. No, it's wonderful. It's such a wonderful country and such a wonderful state. So listen, Gabriela, congratulations and thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Norman, for this opportunity. And well, I would suggest at the end of everything, a visit to the governor's palace so we can have a final chat about our project. Thank you very much, Norman.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Gabriela. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Brazil. Here is São Paulo. We are more than a Brazilian state. We are a nation state. A state that works. The second largest economy of South America, with a 647 billion gross domestic product. Covering an area of more than 200,000 square kilometers. We are global leaders in the production of sugar, ethanol, and orange juice. We have a market of more than 45 million people from every part of the world. São Paulo trains and exports the most qualified workforce in Brazil. São Paulo is the fourth largest consumer market in Latin America. São Paulo is Brazil's largest economy. Over half of São Paulo's $58 billion in exports are concentrated in food, transport, and capital equipment. São Paulo's infrastructure is also impressive, boasting two of Brazil's busiest airports, with more than 50 million passengers every year. We have the largest port in Latin America in Santos, transporting 130 million tons per year, and also 18 of the 20 best highways in Brazil. Science, technology, and innovation also have their place in São Paulo. We invest heavily in research, more than $205 million. São Paulo also hosts a world-class science and technology institute, representing investments of over $200 million. As a result of this initiative, incubators and tech parks have spread throughout the state, fostering economic and social development. We now have the best HDI of Brazil and the best public safety index in the country, comparable to international indexes. Opportunities are back, with projects involving many of our landmarks and strategic locations in various sectors. São Paulo is already recognized by the media as the best place to invest in Latin America. And the state's government is ready to welcome investors. The best moment to believe in São Paulo is here and now. Pleased to meet you. We are the state of São Paulo, and we are ready for business.